Hi there, I'm Bruce Ulrich, and today I'm going to show you how I made this reclaimed bourbon barrel chandelier. This thing turned out really cool. I'm up at a friend's shop in Kentucky and we're building a bunch of stuff. He has access to some bourbon barrels and we were able to reclaim the hoops and some other stuff to build this chandelier. So let me show you how we made it. I threw together a quick circle cutting jig and we cut out a couple of different size circles on Jeremy's bandsaw. These were going to end up being one on the ceiling and then one further down, just as kind of some decoration so that we could cover the junction box and those kinds of things. This is the same walnut that I used to make that slab walnut desk. If you haven't already seen that video, I'll put a link to it in the description and also I'll link to it in the cards. Definitely go check that one out. We cleaned up the rust with a wire brush on the angle grinder. These barrels are reclaimed barrels, so they have been in use and have been storing bourbon in them for years and years and years, often exposed to some of the elements, so they do develop a bit of rust on the steel hoops. A simple roundover took care of the edge treatment, and then we took them over to the drill press so that we could drill a through hole so the light kits and all the wiring could pass through. The larger circle was too big to fit on the drill press, so we just used a hand drill to drill that one out with a Forstner bit. We found this cool kit to mount it to the ceiling. It's actually used for a lot of ceiling fans and that type of thing, but it has a neat industrial look to it. And you don't have to thread any of the pipe. You just use a piece of regular 3/4 inch iron pipe, and we just cut it to length so that it would work for us. Then you secure it to each of the flanges that it has, one for the upper and one for the lower, and you're done. The step bit was the quickest way we could figure out to get a hole in the steel large enough so that we could pass all the wires through it. We just secured each of the steel hoops down with a couple of screws to the walnut piece. And we actually used that same step bit to just hold the place as we got all of these secured. That way each of them would be aligned in the center. Jeremy has a little bit of welding experience and I have none, but we decided we wanted to tack weld all of this together. I'm glad we did because it ended up looking really cool, but it was an interesting learning experience. Welding for the first time. Let's do this. About to weld for the first time. Let's do this. Trying welding for the first time. Let's do this. Did it. It's ugly, but I did it. Jeremy was way better at welding than I was, and there were a few spots that needed a little extra attention, so he hopped on that and kind of filled out those welds a little better. So this was just kind of a concept that my friend Jeremy came up with, and we were able to execute on it. It was so fun to kind of iterate and just build as we went. We were able to reclaim these hoops out of a bourbon barrel that was used, and we got a couple lighting kits, and it just turned out really cool. So for the actual lighting and wiring, we didn't want to mess with all of that. So we hired that out. Be sure if you do anything with wiring that you find somebody that's certified. That's what we did. I love how this turned out. I would love to hear what you think about it. Have you seen anything quite like this, or do you think you could build it? Leave me a comment below. If you enjoyed the video, I'd love a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button and hit the bell so that you get all of my future videos. If you're not following along with me on Instagram, that's a good place to get a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. You can see as I'm building stuff like this. But anyway, thanks so much. I really appreciate you watching. I'll see you next time.